Hi ladies and gentlemen, just a quick video today, just reviewing the concepts on setting up a basic new client in Workflowmax, which often coincides with setting up a new quote. So we'll kill two birds with one stone, and we'll imagine that we're doing a new quote for a client that currently doesn't exist in our system, and we're just going to make sure that we've got those basic fundamental elements right. So later on, you're going to get the credit for your sales, and we're also going to be able to track where our leads came from, etc. Okay, so real quick, we're just going to go over to the quotes section. We're already there. New, we don't use estimate, guys. Every now and then, if you're giving someone a rough estimate, it's not set in stone. They want a rough guide to something, use that, but more often than not, we're using a quote. Okay, so as I mentioned, we're going to imagine that we didn't have this client before, and so we're just going to bang their name in, Rick and Morty. Account manager. So you guys, as a BDM, this isn't Mel. It's not who's working accounts for all tech. It's not admin. This is you guys. So this is who is managing this particular account. So in this case, it's me. And later on, when we're tracking, we're going to be able to easily generate reports that show all of my data for the year. Job manager. Now this one's a little bit different, guys. This may change. We may change this when the job gets accepted, but for now, please just put it as the project coordinator, Trevor Woodbine. Contact name. Out of Rick and Morty, I think Rick would probably be the dominant person to get in contact with there. And guys, look, I don't think there's much purpose in me wasting time entering an address, phone number. You know how all this works. Now, financial information. We do want you to put in the most relevant topic here. If it doesn't fit into one, just choose other. But this helps ensure that it gets filed right in our accounting system, and also we can track the value in types of jobs and the profit in types of jobs. And that's going to help us figure out what are the profitable areas we need to focus on in the future. So choose as best you can from these types of companies. And then finally, the referral source. So again, guys, this may be yourself. So it may be again, so Jared Woodbine. But it could also be that we did a great job there and the clients recommended us to someone else. This is still your client, obviously, guys. You're the account manager. This is just so we can get data on how these referrals are happening. We might have passed you a lead from the website. There's any number of ways we might have gotten this. You might even want to drill down a bit more and just put, door knocking, or cold calling. Cold call. And this is a great way for us to be able to see what's getting the results. Is cold calling working well? Is door knocking working well? When we print out reports later on, we'll be able to see who the account manager was and how that lead came about, and that's going to be really helpful in ensuring that we focus on the right ways of generating business later on. So I'm going to hit save on that. So the name of the quote. Okay, first of all, the template. I have improved a couple of these templates. Some are better than others, and there's some that I'll change as we move on. Building wash. Now this one is basically good to go. I did go over this briefly in one of my quotes earlier. So this is the generic template, but you do want to get as specific as you can in this, and always make an effort to just personalize it, just touch it up a little bit so it really feels like you're speaking to them. You haven't just clicked on a template and forwarded the quote off. You make special mention of a few of the things that you mentioned with them. And in this particular quote, we're also going to remove all the empty beer bottles from Rick's spaceship. And he's going to be pretty stoked about that. And that's obviously providing a lot of extra value for Rick. They're rattling around a lot as he's, doing his thing. All right, so now we're into this new section. Now there's a lot of different ways we can do this. In the past, we were splitting up between window cleaning and pressure cleaning. I tend to just keep it now in the one refer to the quote above for the bigger description. But rope access labor, you can put the label is sort of the short summary. So wash and window clean. Rope access wash of all surfaces followed by cleaning of all external glass as per the description above. Maybe you could expand just a little bit. Includes all labor, materials, access, and machinery. Billable rate. Again, this should be slightly higher, around 110. Hours, 500. This video, by the way, isn't really to get too specific about pressure cleaning in general, so I won't go into that too much. Choosing your fixed price, because again, if you're doing a pressure cleaning quote, you're not actually working it out off hours. You are putting the hours in, but it's based on the price that you've come up using your square meter formulas like we showed you in that other video. Now, just quickly, I'm just going to flick over because this one has been confusing a lot of people. Let's just pretend this was an anchor point quote. And anchor points are getting sold as a cost item. So supply and install. Now that should, here we go. We got steel surface mount fall arrest anchors, and on this particular occasion, at $199, we have put the spreadsheet in there for our pricing. So, but that's not important for this particular exercise. I will give them a better deal. I don't really want Rick on my case. So quantity, 50 of them. Descriptions here. I'm not going to do that now. Hit save. Now, when we're doing quotes for height safety, we really want to be looking at a gross profit of around about 40%. That's sort of the sweet spot. And the way we're going to get that, and the way we can double check, is that you want to be allowing around half an hour's labor per anchor point. That's installed, certified. You know, that's going to cover us for everything. So the mobilization, assembly, install, tagging, all of the above. That's going to ensure that we've really got all that covered. So what you need to do, because at the moment obviously this isn't accurate, we've got this rope access labor here for pressure cleaning. So let's get rid of this. We're going to change it to anchor point installation. That hourly rate should be fixed up, by the way. We would normally be charging 140. Now we had half an hour per anchor, so that means each guy's getting about 16 anchors done a day. That would be quite comfortable. So for that 50 anchor points, that's 3 staff for a day, give or take, 16, 32, 48. So we're going to put in 24 hours labor, and labor to assemble, install, and certify anchor point system. Now, by the way, guys, something simple like this, it's not too important what you put in here, because this is just for admin purposes, and it's just a place for the guys to log their hours against. Install anchors. Now, we hit save on here. Now, you're going to notice this GP is going to be way too high at the moment, mainly because we've still got the fixed price for the pressure cleaning in, but let's even put in the 3360 in labor that it's calculated. Okay, so 67% gross profit. So that's because it's adding the labor and it's adding what we've charged per anchor. But in actual fact, what we're charging per anchor here, that's the total cost. That's all inclusive for everything. The supply of the materials, the labor that we've factored in. The only time we're going to add more cost is if we're thinking about mobilization, accommodation, you know, so travel, those types of things, or different parts to the system. The reason we put the labor up the top here and we calculate the hours is because we uncheck that it's billable. So now you'll see that 0 of this is actually getting billed to the client, but what it's telling the system is that there's 24 hours worth of labor here at the cost price that we pay for labor. It's actually coming off the profit that we're making down here and what we're charging per anchor. So now you can see that even after this labor has been accounted for, if we're selling 50 of these anchors at 169, we're actually doing really well off that. So we're still up over 50% profit margin, which is great. A little bit too high if we're going after new work. And I spoke about that briefly with that spreadsheet. But in retrofits, a lot of these places, existing buildings, that 169 for anchors doesn't seem to be excessive, and we seem to win the work quite often. So I'll just double check that those figures are right. Yeah, that's correct. We've got the cost price in there, the quantity. So in this case, it's going to give you the gross margin down here. And obviously, guys, look where the money we have in budget for sales is ultimately reflective of a percentage of the gross profit we can get off these more than the revenue. Obviously, if we have $9,000 revenue and there's only $1,000 gross margin, well, that job isn't worth, it's not even worth a quarter to the company of what this one's worth with making $4,500 gross margin. So the more margin we can make, the more money we have in the labor and sales budgets. So that's just a quick example, guys. You can see that, let's say that I wanted to give them a slightly better deal, 7,950. You're going to see that gross profit margin come down. Or if you think, it's a particularly hard job, the access is hard, the labor is going to take a little bit longer, and now you've seen that gross margin come down to 48. So always ensuring that gross margin is at least 40% will ensure there's a healthy enough profit for the company to maintain our business model and also cover you guys and your sales commissions, and makes it a win-win for the client getting a good deal and making the job feasible. So look, I think we've covered a couple of different quotes now: how to set up a basic pressure cleaning quote, how to set up a more complex quote involving non-billable labor and the supply of anchors. Same thing with testing. If you're charging per point, you would put that all down here and then just estimate the time, make it non-billable, save your quote, and get that one off. And look, guys, I was going to sort of go in and show you how the reports look like, but I'm going to save that for another video, so I'm going to leave it there for now. Give me any feedback in the Slack channel if you've got any questions on that one, but I hope I've been pretty straightforward. The two key points I wanted to drive home is make sure you set yourself up as the account manager if you're the BDM, and the job manager is going to be Trevor. The referral source is how you attain that quote, so the method that you use to get that lead. And then also in the financial section down the bottom, when you're setting it up, choosing the type of job that it is. If you've just taken away those 4 key points from this video, that's absolutely fantastic. I'll see you next time. Thank you.